Here we go.
Good evening, everyone. I call the Marlington Local School District Board of Education regular meeting to order on March 4th, 2021 at 7:00 p.m. Would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the
United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The reading of the mission statement will be by Mrs. Humphries.
In collaboration with staff, community, parents, and students, the Marlington Local School District will develop lifelong learners who understand and apply knowledge and demonstrate excellence in pursuing the highest standards with effective intervention to challenge every student.
This meeting is a meeting of the Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. Dr. Mean, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Gabrick,
Here?
Mr. Hagan,
Here.
Mrs. Humphries,
Here.
Dr. Mason,
Here.
Mrs. Stevens,
Here.
Adoption of the meeting agenda. Are there any additions or corrections? Is there a motion that the Marlington Local Board of Education adopt the following agenda for the March 4th, 2021 meeting?
So moved.
So move. Second.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Gabrick,
Yes?
Mr. Hagan, Mr. Hagan,
Yes.
Mrs. Humphries,
Yes.
Dr. Mason,
Yes.
Mrs. Stevens,
Yes.
approved 5-0.
Public participation. Dr. Main, were any documents received for the public participation portion of tonight's meeting?
No documents were received.
Thank you. Special presentations, Business Advisory Council update. I attended the meeting on February 23rd, and there were updates given on early childhood education. An update reminding everyone the Junior Achievement Inspire Virtual Career Exploration Fair is March 10th. There was a presentation on tech credit grant programs and the manufacturing industry sector partnership. And then Lori Wheeler, safety manager of Coke Knight LLC, gave a presentation of their business, which is an industrial manufacturing business that tailors and installs non-metallic linings and other non-corrosive materials for a diverse range of businesses. And their next meeting will be March 23rd. Students of the month, Dr. Mike.
Okay, good evening, everybody. I'm going to turn it over to our technology department and Ben Davis, and we are going to recognize our March students of the month.
Good evening, Mr. Spondio here with our student of the month, Lillian Ronsky. Lillian is the daughter of James and Lynette Ronsky. During her time in high school, she has accumulated various achievements and participates in many different groups, such as Duke Street. She's also the president of the choral department. She's a section leader for the Marching Dukes of Marlington's Color Guard. She's involved in Drama Dukes, the Tri-M Music Honor Society, National Honor Society, Spanish National Honor Society. She's a class officer, a link crew leader, and she participates in shows with the Carnation City Players since she's been in 5th grade. After graduation, Lily plans to major in psychology and minor in music theater at Kent Stark State. Congratulations, Lily.
Thank you.
Our next student of the month is Evan Bland. Evan is a senior here at Marlington. He is the son of Logan and Stacy Bland. Evan participates in many different sports for us, including varsity football and track and field. After graduation, with the recent passing of his father, Evan is planning on staying home and working for the Plain Township Road Department.
8th grader Annalie Anderson, one of our students of the month for the month of March. Annalie is the daughter of Melissa and Mike Anderson. Her favorite classes are history and math. Annalie also runs track for the Dukes and is a member of our 8th grade choir. Additionally, she plays the keyboard, and in her spare time, she loves to paint and draw. Annalee's teachers had this to share about her. Annalee took on the challenge of 2 high school classes, along with enriched science this year, and is thriving. She has been dedicated to her studies and the responsibility that comes with that. Time management is crucial, and she has handled it like a champ. I could always count on Annalee to put in the extra time needed to succeed. In addition to her work ethic, Annalee is genuine and caring with all. You can always count on a smile and a thank you. Annalee is a very conscientious and thoughtful student. It is clear she always puts her very best effort to work. Annalee is a pure delight to have in choir class. Her desire and willingness to work hard is fantastic. She is kind and respectful to all students, and her smile is always on. She has a heart of gold, and I'm so glad I get to see her every day. Great job, Annalee. Congratulations, and best of luck. Our next student of the month is 8th grader Josh Dean. Josh is the son of Samantha Smith. His favorite classes are reading and math. He's wrestled the last 2 years for the Dukes, and in his free time, he enjoys playing video games and spending time with his cousins. Josh's teachers had this to share about him. Josh is a very hardworking student, and best of all, he is a great kid, both in and out of the classroom. Josh Dean is an awesome, hardworking student. He always is paying close attention in class and is more than happy to jump in on any subject, sparking great conversation. Josh is an energetic student who has really improved this year. He constantly has his assignments done, and often early. He has a great attitude and is a positive influence on those around him. Great job, Josh. Congratulations. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Renee Cayley, the principal at Lexington Elementary School, and we're here today to recognize our March Kiwanis Student of the Month for Lexington. Our Kiwanis Student of the Month for March is Lexi Ginder, and she was nominated by her 5th grade teacher, Mrs. Porter. Here are some things that Mrs. Porter had to say about Lexi. Lexi is a leader on the student council who models a positive attitude and excellent effort in all she does. She brightens our day with a friendly smile and treats others with kindness and respect. Lexi goes above and beyond by using her time well and offering help without being asked. Way to go, Lexi. Keep up the great work. We are so excited to have you here as a Lexington Duke, and we recognize you and honor you today as our March Kiwanis Student of the Month. Congratulations. This is for you.
Hello, I am Mrs. Beatles with Marlboro Elementary, and with us we have KJ Weaver, our Marlboro Kiwanis Student of the Month. KJ was chosen as Marlboro's Kiwanis Student of the Month for March due to his mastery of our Duke Pride expectations. He exemplifies incredible work ethic and determination. His hardworking attitude has helped him achieve many goals this year. KJ is a great friend and has an unstoppable personality. These traits are indisputable when it comes to working with classmates and staff at Marlboro. We look forward to all he will achieve in the future and are very happy to have him with us. And now for some fun facts about KJ's school. His favorite subject is science. Not reading. He lives with his Aunt Janine, Uncle Galen, and Ethan. Ethan. I have 2 dogs. Well, okay. KJ has 2 dogs and 3 cats. His favorite thing to do with his family is Sunday dinner with everyone. They cook out and swim and hang out. It's so much fun to wrote and is going to write. In the future, he would like to play football for the Cleveland Browns. And hopefully he would travel with the team and go to Dallas and Tennessee. Have you been to these places before? Ooh. He likes to play football and play catch and video games. Ladies and gentlemen, Marlboro Elementary, KJ Weaver.
I am Gary Tosh, principal at Washington Elementary, and standing with me today is Gabe Miner. Gabe Meyer is the Kiwanis Student of the Month for the month of March. And here's what his teacher had to say about him. Gabe is an outstanding student who is kind, he is awesome at math, and he also likes gym. Outside of school, he's a big fan of four-wheeling. So Gabe, congratulations for being Kiwanis Student of the Month.
Congratulations to all of our students. Old business. First, we have financial discussion. I will turn that over to Patty and Dr. Mike.
Okay, good evening again, everybody. So I wanted to continue our discussion about finances. We have been getting some questions, which is good. And people have been asking about our situation. So I wanted to take a minute to share a couple highlights and then a couple things from our past that I would like to share. And then maybe we can talk a little bit about where we're headed. So we've been talking to the board, Patty and I, as well as, if you remember, Ryan from 5-Year Forecast last time, the need for new money. And the comment we've all made is we can't make enough through cuts to absorb all of these costs. So that means it's time for a new money levy. And I know some people have asked about some specific cuts. So specific cuts have to be well thought out. Often they cause a domino effect in districts. So we have to examine a lot of different angles, figure out, the best thing to do, because one move affects another and then affects another. I think it's only fair to look at some cuts that the district has already made and to talk about some areas where the district has gone without. It may seem like a long time ago, but it really wasn't that long ago. In 2009, the district made $1.8 million in cuts from the budget. A small part of those have come back. And why have those things come back? Well, there are some things where needs have developed in those 10 years. For example, in 2009, the district cut the resource officer and some guidance counselors. And I don't think those are things, that anybody would argue we needed to bring back. I wanted to talk to you about every year there's more accountability. There's more complicated reports. There are more complicated laws. The Ohio Department of Education puts more requirements on us. And almost every year our testing requirements increase. So we have a lot of people doing the job that several people used to do in the past. So I know you're probably tired of hearing me say this, but we've got to stop pinching pennies and blowing dollars. So how many man hours can we spend on repairing a 50-year-old piece of equipment over and over and over when it would be much more efficient to spend money on a new piece of equipment in some cases? How long can we stretch out the life of crucial equipment? Those are just a couple of quick examples. I know there's some hesitation, and I know that there are some people that have expressed, about our past, but at some point you have to put a little bit of trust in the district leaders. And I'm really talking to, I guess, the public that's listening, because we said this as a board and team of administrators before. Just a couple more things. We need to look at a new money levy probably in November. I believe we should at least explore an earned income tax. I know there's some misconceptions out there about that. If we go the traditional route, Ryan from 5-Year Forecast said we need about a $7 million levy. So a $7 million levy would cost the owner of a $100,000 home roughly $700 per year, or $58 additional per month. The district hasn't asked for new money in 18 years, and we can make cuts to lessen the millage, but keep in mind that the day the levy begins, it starts to devalue. So the minute you start collecting it, it starts to go down. Again, if people don't understand, levies do not automatically increase with property tax increases. So it's a good time to remind folks. You probably haven't heard me say this before, but when I get a chance, I like to remind everybody, Ohio's school funding system was deemed unconstitutional 3 times over the past 20 years. Nothing's been done to fix it. Ohio gives more money to failing charter schools than any other state in the union, more money to private schools than most states. And in the past, we just learned this today, in the past 12 years, Ohio has increased its voucher program an average of $25 million per year to almost $4 million this year. All of this money that I'm talking about is subtracted from the money that our taxpayers vote, thinking that that money goes to Marlington. We have a lot to think about. So I'd like to take the month of March. I'd like to ask the board to ask Pat, or to let Patty and I finalize some costs. We're almost done looking at every department. Patty is doing an audit of every department: transportation, special education, every building, food service. So, and then maybe we can talk about some more specific opportunities for some cost savings then early in April. So I know that was a lot, but I wanted to share that with you. And so questions for me, or Patty, did you want to jump in?
I think you pretty much covered it, Dr. Mike. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to also answer.
Patty or Dr. Mike, how much would a 7 mil levy generate?
Do you have that figure, Patty? Ryan gave that to us, I believe, last time. We can do the math quickly too.
And the other question I had, while you're getting an answer to that, Dr. Mike, you said the levy would immediately start to devalue. I thought these levies, if you voted in a certain number of dollars, you would continue to collect that amount of money.
Well, that goes by you collect the millage. So remember, school levies do not increase automatically when they raise our taxes. That's the kind of the point I was trying to make.
Okay, so for
So
whatever,
maybe it's not immediately, but it
so
happens.
the amount of money that's voted in, that money will stay constant throughout the term of that levy.
more or less.
It's the millage that would fluctuate a little bit to generate that amount of money. Is that correct?
Are we saying that right, Patty? No, it always brings in the same millage, but there's a fluctuation because of the tax values.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And as far as you mentioning the cuts made in 2009, I believe that was a result of the recession and the opposite effect of, you know, the values of properties dropping in that time.
Yeah, you're true, Mr. Egan. A lot of different things went into that, but I didn't know about that. So we were looking at those cuts, and a lot of that hasn't been restored. Now, I can say we do have less students than we had in 2009, a few less, but we talked about that. Again, that's not a Marlington issue. That's an Ohio issue, a Stark County issue. There just aren't as many children in our schools right now. And I think that had to do with, experts are saying had something to do with the depression or recession, because people simply didn't have as many children.
To answer your question, 7 mil will bring in about 3 million.
Thank you. So you'll continue to work, the plan is to continue to work on a plan and then present it to the board the first part of April?
Right, we will. And I want to say again, both Patty and I are open to often taxpayers will contact us, and it's our pleasure to answer those questions and your emails, and of course board members know the same. We can, as you think of things, and Patty and I are both new, so we appreciate the history that all of you have. So we appreciate hearing those things. It's like a big puzzle that we have to put together. So it helps to have the wisdom of the past.
Could you guys find out an approximate number with, current finances, I guess, what we would be looking at because you said the other option was an income tax.
Mm-hmm.
And there's probably different options as far as that goes as well.
Correct.
Could you guys look into some approximate numbers, like 0.25%, 0.5%, and what that would generate as well, so we could have a better understanding of that?
Yes.
And one thing to point out with that option is it can vary quite a bit year to year.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not as stable as a real estate tax.
Yeah. So obviously an income tax can vary. Historically, though, I believe in Ohio, districts have done pretty well with that. So, but you are correct. The more people that are working, the more income tax then that we would bring in. And just an aside, we don't collect that. We don't have to hire a person to collect that income tax. The state does that. They take a small fee for doing that, but they take care of that. So we don't have to do that. It's going to take some education, and we will present, because there's a little bit of option with the property tax, but you're right, with the income tax, it's the percentage. We'll talk about what does this term earned income mean, who pays that income tax. The theory is that we kind of share it's not just a burden on property tax. So we still have some property tax, but everybody that works, it's working, even if you rent, you're paying part of the income tax proportionally to what you make.
Patty, could you give us an update on our next renewal levy that'll be coming due, the amount of it, and when is the first time we can ask for it, when that expires, that sort of thing, if you have that handy?
Yes. Our next renewal levy, it ends in 2022 and we collect it in 2023. Therefore, the soonest time or the earliest time that we can go in on is the general election, November of 22.
It ends in 22 and the earliest we can ask for it is 2022?
Because we collect in 2023.
And do you have the amount of that levy?
I do not have that.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
I can get that for you.
We did talk, Patty and I and Ryan, about that levy. That would not cover our shortfalls, even if that passes.
The renewal you're talking about, Dr. Mike?
Correct, the renewal, yeah.
And we need that for current operating expenditures, is that correct?
Correct, yeah.
Are there any other questions or discussion? Dr. Mike or Patty, do you have anything more?
No, I don't think so. Not tonight.
I do not. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. New revised deleted board policies. These had the first reading at the last meeting. Is there a motion to approve the second reading and adoption of the following policies? Policy 6114, cost principles, and policy 6325, procurement with federal grants.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Gabrick,
Yes.
Mr. Hagan,
Yes.
Mrs. Humphries,
Yes.
Dr. Mason,
Yes.
Mrs. Stevens,
Yes.
approved 5-0.
New business policy committee update. Mr. Hagan, did you want to say a few words about the policy committee?
It was just updating some policies to fall in line with law changes. So there wasn't anything that stuck out to me, nothing real consequential.
Dr. Mike, did you want to go over, like do an overview of the policies before we
I
vote
do.
on that?
I'd like to say just a couple of words. So
Okay.
the majority of these policies, as you can see, they have to do with anti-discrimination, anti-harassment, and they speak to many different groups in our society. So it's just important that we keep up on things, we keep up on the law, that we make sure Marlington has done a great job of keeping these policies, being a non-discriminatory, equal opportunity employer. Also, there are policies here that cover our children, our students, and there are policies here that cover people that are visiting our campus. So the vast majority of these have to do with anti-harassment, anti-discrimination. And these are, as Mr. Hagan said, results. Some of the laws trickle down from federal laws that are put into place, and then some are then Ohio laws. Then the others are, they're just minor things that were changed to some of the other policies.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the first reading of the following policies? And it's starting with policy 1422 and all the policies listed on the agenda through policy 8510 as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Is there a discussion? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Gabrick,
Yes.
Mr. Hagan,
Yes.
Mrs. Humphries,
Yes.
Dr. Mason,
Yes.
Mrs. Stevens,
Yes.
approved 5-0.
Open enrollment. Dr. Mike, did you want to speak about that a bit?
Yes, so each year the board has to approve our policy or our practice of open enrollment. We do have statewide open enrollment. And the first, where it says open enrollment, one, that deals with interdistrict. So if a student lives in another district, they want to come to our district, that would be this policy. And then the other one deals with intra-district. So say a student lives in the Washington boundary but wants to go to Marlboro, then we try to accommodate those as well. And these then would cover for the 21-22 school year.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the superintendent's recommendation that the board continues participation in the inter-district open enrollment program, policy 5113 for the 2021-22 school year for grades K through 12.
So move.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
I just
Patty,
have,
would you be able, go ahead.
I had a quick question. Are we actively monitoring our open enrollment to see how it falls as far as our costs to, because we get a certain amount of money per enrolled student, although on average per student, we tend to spend more money. But there's a point, a balance where it's beneficial to the district. Are we monitoring that?
We are, yes. Patty, I don't know if you wanted to say a little more about that.
I can. We see our open enrollment on the foundation report monthly, and also that is tracked by our EMIS person. And also we have, we regularly communicate between the treasurer's office and the superintendent's office about the enrolled students. So we do monitor that throughout the year.
Okay, thank you.
And open enrollment, Patty, open enrollment, that brings in a positive cash flow to the district to help offset the students that would be leaving the district. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Please call the roll. You're on mute.
Mrs. Hayward,
Yes.
Mr. Hagan,
Yes.
Mrs. Humphries,
Yes.
Dr. Mason,
Yes.
Mrs. Stevens,
Yes.
approved 5-0.
Is there a motion to approve the superintendent's recommendation that the board continues participation in the intra-district open enrollment program, policy 5113.01 for the 2021-22 school year for grades kindergarten through 5th grade?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Do we have any policy in regard to the option inter-district students that, along the border, say for example, township to another, it's beneficial to the balance of students and a parent wants to put their in the other building and that'll balance out. Do we offer an option for busing for that? I mean, is there something we could put into place to incentivize that if that's open to the parents for the intra-district enrollment?
I'll have to check on the intra-district busing that we do. I'm not familiar completely, but normally if a parent requests a different, we don't bus then. If a parent requests a different, or they would have to get that student to the bus stop for that school.
Well, my question is if it wasn't going to drastically, alter the route or incur additional cost to the districts, yet it would be beneficial for balancing, the teacher-student ratio in the classrooms, would it be worth looking into having a policy that it doesn't automatically negate the option for transport if it doesn't affect our routing to a large extent? And as far as that, is there something we could look at for open enrollment as well? I know other districts have policies where they'll actually pick up students outside the district that aren't far outside the line.
Yeah. So let me talk about each one of those. And I think they're both similar answers. We don't want to open a can of worms. So, I think the kids that are within, the problem is if you do it for a couple of students, then, and I see what you're saying, if we need to balance, I guess we could talk about that. The kids that are open enrolled into the district from other districts, we're really not by law supposed to pick them up. Where I've been, we've always let them come to our bus stops if they can get to a bus stop, but we're not supposed to pick them up, take our bus and pick them up in another district.
Well, I just read somewhere that some districts do offer that, so I don't know how maybe they're not, following the law to a T, but.
Let me check on that because things change, often, but let me check on that.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, so we're voting on the intra-district open enrollment program. Patty, please call the roll.
Mrs. Gabrick,
Yes.
Mr. Hagan,
Yes.
Mrs. Humphries,
Yes.
Dr. Mason,
Yes.
Mrs. Stevens,
Yes.
approved 5-0.
Personnel consent agenda, Dr. Mike.
Okay, I have 2 classified resignations. Unfortunately, resignation of Lee Packey, administrative assistant to the superintendent. I just want to say I cannot believe how close I've come to Lee in the 9 months I've been here. She is certainly a wealth of knowledge, and we will miss Lee. We wish her lots of luck, and she is offered to help out for whomever takes over her. She has they all have big shoes to fill, but Lee has offered to help that person out, and Lee will do that. We also have Terry Porter, high school custodian, resigning effective March 12th. And then I have 2 hires, which the process has been going on. Tom Mather, he has been our assistant mechanic, and then he will move to the head mechanic position. And then Donald, who goes by Zach Hoover. Zach will be the person then to be our assistant mechanic. Some of you may know Zach. Zach's a Marlington grad. And I'm always happy when we can get a Marlington grad, and they're great. And Zach's been working at another district, and he would like to come home and work for Marlington. So we're excited about having Zach with us. I have classified subs, Gemma Babajo and Tracy Schilling. And then we have 2 coaching slots to fill: boys tennis, Miles Ford, and girls soccer, Jacob Sutton.
Is there a motion to approve the superintendent's recommendation for employment, for classified resignation, classified hires, classified substitute list, and the supplemental hires as presented?
So moved.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion?
I just want to say that, Lee Packey is going to be a tough one. She's a good friend and has done such a good job for the years that she's been here, and I wish her the best. She deserves it.
Yes, we want to thank our employees for their service, and I do wish them the best as well. Please call the roll.
Mrs. Gabrick,
Yes.
Mr. Hagan,
Yes.
Mrs. Humphrey,
Yes.
Dr. Mason,
Yes.
Mrs. Stevens,
Yes.
approved 5-0.
The announcements, Dr. Mike?
Okay, so we wanted to remind everybody that March 9th is a calamity day. So there's no school, no DDA remote learning. And that is the day where our staff gets our 2nd vaccine. And then March 10th is also going to be a calamity day because most people are having some side effects, some a little bit more than minor. So rather than start the day and be without half of our staff, this is what pretty much every school district is doing to give people that day to rest and recuperate from the vaccine. And our 9 weeks, our third 9 weeks ends March 26th. It's hard to believe. And then we have spring break, the 29th through the 5th. And then I had emailed out to the board. It obviously totally up to you. I don't think that we need the March 18th board meeting. And I was wondering if it's okay with Patty as well. Patty and I didn't get a chance to really thoroughly discuss this. Can we not have that and just, we have the next board meeting is April 1st. Patty, we want to make sure there's nothing pressing that would have to be approved that night.
Dr. Mike, I think we have to approve the tax rates in March. Let me double check on that.
Okay.
Those are due.
And that's fine. We can still go ahead and have the meeting. And we'll go from there. The board knows why I was asking about that little change. So, okay. No problem.
I
Are
apologize.
you gonna check on that now, or we know we needed to do that?
I'm pretty sure we do. I will double check
Okay.
and get back to you. But I'm almost positive that's in March.
Let's leave it then the way it is. And on that, if there's an outside chance, then let us know.
Okay, so the next meeting is March 18th at 7:00 PM. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Gabrick,
Yes.
Mr. Hagan,
Yes.
Mrs. Humphries,
Yes.
Dr. Mason,
Yes.
Mrs. Stevens,
Yes.
approved 5-0.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good night.